My guess is that if you're watching this video, you've watched the Netflix Icelandic dramatic mystery Katla and have a few questions, or at least are looking for some answers to what the heck you just watched. Obviously, this is going to contain spoilers, but I have linked my spoiler-free review in the description below. So if you haven't seen it or you just don't want spoilers, now's your chance to get out. Now, I don't claim to be the expert on the meaning of this show because, heck, I didn't write it, but I do believe I have some pretty solid theories, and I'm going to back them up with rationale as we go along. But I would love to know your thoughts and theories in the comments. I mean, I enjoy learning from everybody else too as we unpack these ideas to get a better understanding of the show. So just as a very quick recap to the show, in the remote town of Vik in Iceland, a volcano has been erupting for a year, which is also melting the glacier around it. One day, a girl walks out from the muck. She's covered in ash and clay, and it baffles the town people. So we have Bergrun, the hotel owner, and she speaks of how the appearance of changelings has been going on for a long time. The cycle repeats as necessary throughout the generations. Now, because it's discovered that there's a meteor under the glacier and in the Earth's crust, and because it's not even from our known universe, it contains properties that have a supernatural effect, which allows people to appear out of the muck and return to their loved ones in the form of changelings. And these changelings appear to allow certain characters the opportunity to move on or get some sort of closure. So let's look at Grima. The appearance of Ausha allows her to spend a little more time with her sister. She gets to see how things could be and have a relationship with her when Ausha isn't drinking and partying. Ausha's appearance also allows Thor to gain his own closure. I mean, I think he'd already accepted the loss, so it wasn't weighing on him as much as it did on Grima. He was still grieving, but just less so. So once Grima has had these moments of closure, Ausha has fulfilled her purpose, and she just walks out into the ocean, which is kind of depressing because it mirrors how her mom died. Gunhild appears so that the original Gunhild can understand that her son's condition was not because of her actions. She was not at fault for causing the deformities that he has. She learns that it's a genetic condition, and once the original Gunhild has this knowledge, you see that she lets go of the guilt and the grief. The appearance also brings the original Gunhild back to Vik, which allows Thor to have a moment with his son, and also to gain closure with Gunhild. Now, the reappearance of Mikkel, the young boy, shows both Dari and Raquel that the death of their son was actually for the better. They both have been mourning his death for a while, and as we see, it's destroying their marriage. But once Mikkel reappears, they see how damaged psychologically he really was. And had he not died, he probably would have continued to harm people. And unfortunately, the changeling Mikkel killed the couple who was taking him to the police. But I think, though, that this was necessary so that Raquel could really see his true form and then let go. And as Dari and Raquel fully accept that their true son is gone, they get the resolution to their sadness. And this is an emotional journey for them, but it's necessary for both Dari and Raquel to complete. The ending scene with Mikkel is pretty traumatic to watch too, but as they drown the changeling, they also drown their grief and their guilt. Now, the appearance of Magna is a little more convoluted. The true Magna has that breathing tube and she's pretty sickly. Gisli, her husband, has been dealing with the decline of his wife for some time, and this wears on him, but it's also wearing on Magna. She doesn't want to leave the town even as her health deteriorates, and Gisli is wrapped up in his religious beliefs, but he seems to contradict them with just a lot of his actions. He's definitely not as pious as he purports to be. But as he swaps out Magna's meds, he states that it's up to God's will as to what will happen to her. Gisli was slowly and probably painfully killing her, which lengthened her suffering instead of showing her the mercy and ending it. And the final scene of both Magnas driving into the ash cloud towards the volcano shows that the changeling Magna was there to give Gisli a little bit of closure from not having his wife suffer anymore, but more importantly, it helps the true Magna end her suffering. Now, Grima is a sad story. She not only is dealing with so much grief and anger over the loss of her sister, but she's also invisible to her husband. When both the original Grima and her changeling are in the same room at the time with Kjartan, he doesn't see them both. I mean, they're sitting at the table and he just only notices one at a time, which is obviously heartbreaking to the true Grima. And what leads to a very tense scene in the last episode, both Grimas are sitting on the couch playing Russian roulette. The original Grima has accepted that her changeling is happier overall and has moved on from the tragedies in her life. She's able to look at what was lost and move past the grief. Their conversation with each other helps the true Grima to see this new perspective, but she still can't find a way to move past with her changeling around. So obviously we see the changeling lose the roulette game, I mean if you can call it a game, and then we watch a reborn Grima choose to move past her hurt, her grief, and her guilt. She's playing the piano as her husband, her dad, and her half-brother listen on. And we see the growing joy in her eyes that just illustrates her closure. And then for even more closure, we see the image of the changeling buried out in the ground outside. As the show concludes, we see a large number of changelings coming out of the glacier walking towards the town. So who will these changelings be, and what is the closure that they're going to bring to the townspeople? And I guess we're just going to have to wait till season 2 to find out. So each changeling appeared to allow someone to get over grief or obtain closure from a past hurt. Their appearance, while not startling, was not anything malicious, but it was really out of mercy and compassion. And as sad as the premise of the show is, the ending can be considered beautiful because we watch people move forward in their life with renewed purpose and hopefully joy. So those are my thoughts, theories, and rationales for what was happening in Katla. Do you agree? What did I get wrong? Let's continue the discussion in the comments. I love to hear everybody else's ideas because they all work together to give a better understanding of this drama. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.